Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Community. I'm your co-host, Simon Tomes, joined today by another awesome person in the community. It's Rosie Sherry, co-host. It's like trying to, I don't know where I was going there with my intro, but this is like standard, the two of us chatting. So I was trying to think of something original to say, and it on the fly failed miserably. But yeah, Rosie, how's your week community been? What's been going on?
Yeah, good. Long time no see, as we like to say.
Yeah,
It's been a good hour since we last spoke.
exactly.
But yeah, it's been good. I'm feeling uppity up at the moment. I'm feeling really positive about things, and all the things we're working on. So that feels good when things start to kind of fall into place. It's just a good feeling. But yeah, this week, what's been happening this week, Simon? What's top of your mind?
I guess from my perspective, there's been so we're putting out quite a major change to our Motaverse profile page. So this is the page that automatically collates a whole ton of information about what a member has been up to. So they might be creating moments, which are blog posts in the Motaverse. They might be appearing on a video conversation, which we call sessions. They might be sharing links in the Motaverse to other places outside. And all of this data appears on their profile page. And we've completely reworked it. We went back to basics, back to how can we make our members look awesome and showcase all the good things that they're up to. And there's loads more stuff. I've only listed a teeny tiny bit of what a profile page includes. So that's been going through, I've been in product manager mode, tester mode, collaborating with Andrew, our engineer, on that, which has been cool. And just iterating fast, getting feedback internally within our team, then feedback from our ambassadors, and then just ask for feedback from our beta testers. So we have a dedicated channel on our Slack where we can put stuff out, give kind of early access to people to test stuff. And it's just kind of reminded me of saying this just before we went live that, building those relationships with our community members from a product perspective is just amazing because people are well up for it. And yeah, we are in a very fortunate position that our community has a whole ton of software testing professionals who love to explore and share feedback and support us. So that is an added bonus. Absolutely. Goes without saying. Yeah, I really believe there's something in establishing good relationships with members from a product perspective, like how they can help you iterate, how they can help you clarify the decisions we've made. Because we've made some pretty bold decisions on making those pages less noisy visually. We've had some feedback about that. So we got some thoughts about what we might do with that. But we're iterating fast, and it's been like, yep, let's make a change. Yep, let's make a change and just ship it, just get it out there. And I've made a real effort, particularly today, to reply to every person who shared feedback with thought, to sort of say thank you and yeah, I can understand why that would be frustrating, and try and give them reasons why, or say great idea, we'll tailor on, and then once we made the change, go back to those individuals and say we made the change. I'd also award those people a star for their feedback. So they get a star, thank you for sharing feedback. And I've also encouraged some members who are a bit more active to award a star with another member who shared feedback for the first time, who's not been active at all. They've just shown up. So they all gathered around that person and awarded a star to them. It's just like, yeah, that's cool. So it's like that kind of, giving confidence to those who are showing up, and it just happens to be they're showing up to share feedback. And we got one of their suggested changes in, like within about, I think it was within maybe 2 hours minimum. And I've let them know, and they're like, oh, thank you. So it's cool, like when we can do stuff rapidly and take on feedback from our members and just go for it, right? So that's been nice. It's been a good feeling.
Yeah. And none of that process included AI. Not that I'm bragging about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, good human interaction, product
Yeah.
improvement. It's quick to ship. I think that's kind of cool. I'm not anti AI. I'm just like
I get it.
highlighting that it
Yeah.
can ship quickly and do good things without AI as well.
Yeah. Interestingly, I did use AI to try and summarize the feedback, interestingly enough, but I thought that so I've gone through it individually and read, meticulously the feedback and replied meticulously, but I thought to summarize internally as a team, here are some of the key things. So I kind of took what people have said and asked Claude to provide a summary of like what's positive, what's like, ideas, and what's like, oh, this isn't quite working. So it was more an experiment to see what it would do, and it articulated it in quite a good way. So it was also another way to kind of think from a data perspective, what can we do with that information, feedback we get from our members, and group it, summarize it, try and get a sense of sentiment as well. Um, and it's not like there's it's not like hundreds of thousands of data points to go through. We're fortunate that it's a small sub. Oh, my camera seems to have broken. It's back on. Um, but I can imagine for communities where they get lots of feedback all the time, um, using AI tooling or creating some agents to trawl through that data be very powerful and group, categorize, report. I think we are very close to our members, so it's easier to do that. Easier to you know keep the human in the loop at all times. But for communities that have lots of data around that, um, product changes. Maybe if it's a big engineering team and they need to be a bit more structured and a bit more longer term with how long they take feedback for. Maybe they run feedback sessions for, I don't know, a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. That might generate a lot of data which AI could help with. I think in our context, we work very fast. So, take a couple of days worth of feedback and then right, implement the changes, go for it. What are we gonna get done? Um, One of those changes, which is now on our back, it's the, I have to tell,
Is it the one?
it's the one.
Oh.
So I have to tell the story. So, um, you created a meme with a hamster kind of praying, like begging, like yes, with excitement and willingness to join Moticon, our annual conference. And there's this hamster, really praying to go to Moticon and get a ticket. That was a meme. And you created it as a LinkedIn banner, um, and we've now added it. A number of us, considerable number of us, had added it to our LinkedIn profiles. Deanna was like, "Oh, we'll create a badge if you do this." So people have now got a badge, the hamster badge. It's just wild. Um, and then we were like, "Well, why don't we have banners on our new profile page? Like, it seems so obvious." So that's what we're going to do. So we have banners, and I think a lot of people's first banner will be the brilliant hamster Moticon image. I'm very excited for that. But just brought me joy that that happened within this week in community, right? That's what's been happening. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just like it's a mixture of so many things, right? It's a mixture of feedback. It's a mixture of doing things elsewhere in the community. Um, and we had kind of mentioned like banners at the top, but we weren't convinced. But then when we thought about it, in relation to some of the feedback we got, and then the hamster was just top of mind.
Yeah,
Um, so I quickly mocked up a new version, and I was like, "This looks amazing! I want a hamster
that's brilliant.
on my profile page."
Yeah,
Um, and it's just like we got just go for it. It's kind of
yeah,
what we say internally. So it's like, yeah, I I I, I hope that will be alive
yeah.
very soon.
It's coming soon. It's made the top of the list. So, um, yeah, there's a bit of thinking around it, but as far as making it happen in a simple way, it should be okay. Famous last words. But yeah, when it does go live, we can have a lot of fun with that. And that's kind of like, continuing on the theme around joy that we often talk about is just bringing joy to our member experience is so important. Like things can get very serious. Oh, there's a thumbs up. Um, yeah, there it is. Um, Yeah, it is so important. So little things like that, and also to your point, I amplify the point you made there about based on some feedback. So we got some feedback that maybe a lot of the color of the profile page had been drawn out. So there's probably more text, less images, because we felt the current profile page is quite noisy with lots of images. But we thought, oh, actually, the banner may help balance things out. So again, it gave us another reason to go with it. Um, just yeah, just good timing.
And then also we were looking at image sizes, like what should the image size be?
Mm.
And
Oh,
I don't know if it
yeah,
will technically be implemented,
yeah.
but we were looking at the dimension sizes, and the LinkedIn one was the height was 396, and I was like, that's so close to 404. We just have to have the image height is 404. So
Totally. Yeah. If we can make
you
that
know,
happen, someone
yeah.
goes to upload it and it says like, preferred resolution 1616 404. It's just ridiculous. Even if you and I find that funny and no one else does, I think that's what's so good about it. These little Easter eggs that we keep planting across the site, across the platform. I think they make a difference, right? And I don't think, not that I'm going to disrespect community platforms out there, and we should come on to that poll that you put out recently 'cause it's really interesting. But would a community platform have an Easter eggs feature where you could just plant Easter eggs around the platform, maybe through copy and all of that stuff? But given that we build our own platform, we can build those Easter eggs into anywhere, right? These little bits of fun. I guess just lightheartedness, jokes, joy that we plant around the platform that people stumble across or actively search out when we tell people about it. Um, so yeah, there is something again to be said about building your own platform because you can inject Easter eggs, you can inject joy a lot easier. I think.
Absolutely. I
Talking of
I
which,
agree.
that poll, Rosie, did you want to talk about the poll that you put out recently on that other social network called LinkedIn?
Yeah. And saying that, I think we need to build polls into our platform.
Mm,
But
yeah,
yeah, one day. It's been at the back of my mind for quite a while.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I was like, should we get a bit spicy? Maybe get people thinking. So the poll I put out was, if you were starting a community today, would you choose a community platform or vibe code it?
yeah.
And the context of this for me was that I was just like having a casual chat with someone who's looking to do more community stuff and build it as a business. And from my context, I was like, well, if it was me, would I actually use a community platform? And I don't think I would. If I was starting from scratch,
Mm,
um, my choice, I think, would be to vibe code it. And I think vibe coding is very broad in a sense. There's like you can be a developer and vibe code and help you ship faster, I guess. There's many angles to it, or you can use like a product like Lovable, for
mm,
example,
yeah.
which kind of handles a lot of the tech aspect. It's pretty amazing, to be honest, what you can build. Um, I still feel uncomfortable um, about aspects, which I can read out some of the comments as well, which kind of touch
Mm,
upon it. Um, like security is probably the biggest
yeah,
thing.
of course.
Um, if there's a security breach in Lovable, that's a potential security breach for all their customers, and
Yeah,
that's kind of scary. But is this the way the world is going? Like, have there always been risks of security breaches? Probably, even in current hosted community platforms. Is it
totally.
is it any different? Any different? Um, but it's definitely interesting that like I've I've been slowly building one, and I keep running out of credits. They give you 5 new credits a day. I
Nice.
should like upgrade my account. Um, but I've always had at the back of my mind to build a community for like people who home educate. Um, so I thought if I use Lovable to build something, can I take the ideas that we've been doing in the Motaverse and take that to another community? And yeah, I've got a community there. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty. Well, it's not a community. It's the structure of a community, of
Mm.
a potential community. It's not live or anything yet, but like technically it works, and technically it's nice.
It's
Technically,
amazing.
it's like
Yeah.
I've got a glossary. Um, for example, of terms. I've got a list of books. I use AI to help me fill up a lot of the glossary really quickly.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like the tediousness of it is like, oh, this is interesting, but it's still useful, right? Um, so yeah, I'm like, I prefer this to using a community platform.
Mm.
Um, and you can hook in payments and stuff pretty easily with Stripe. Um, so yeah, it's pretty interesting to me. But I thought I'd read out a few comments.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go through them one by one.
Rosie, is it
So
just, sorry to interrupt, is it worth,
yeah,
do you want to reveal the results so far as at the time of recording, or do you feel leave that to the listener to go onto your poll? We could include it as a link in the show notes, of course. But I think
yeah. I mean,
the results are interesting in of itself as well. But yeah, as you say,
yeah.
comments as well, of course.
So overall results is 68% would say community platform, and 33% say vibe coded.
Yeah, and
So
that's
that doesn't quite add up. I should say 67%, just so I can get 67 in there.
I love the fact that
Sorry.
doesn't quite add up as well.
Yeah,
Nice one. And that's a sample set of 40 votes, which is considerable, right? That's good.
yeah,
It's good enough. It's good enough.
yeah.
Anything over 30,
Uh,
I think is statistically significant.
um, but yeah, so a third of people are considering vibe coding it, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so Becca Anderson, hello Becca. She says her comment was start where people already are, so they already know how to use the app and it's already part of their day to day. Move to custom options once the community
Mm.
grows large and active enough to need more than what the default platforms can provide. Um, any thoughts on that, Simon?
So start where people already are, so they already know how to use the app. I guess it's the assumption that if they are already on a community platform, they might be familiar, or they've used the community platform on other communities, so it feels familiar. Um, and then custom options once the community grows. So vibe code the custom options to put on top. Well, I wonder. I wonder. I guess I'm biased because I I voted for vibe code it. Because I'm like, well, data is important, so if you got data in like one place to start right from the off, that is incredible, and that you can really build upon that from day one on the get go. Um, maybe, and I think maybe this point about like start where they already are is the assumption that community platform tooling kind of gives a load of stuff already. Um, things you can do like, I don't know, create links to events or places, different channels for people to have conversations, which I know you've written about, Rosie, about those two things. Um, so yeah. I mean, it's like that vibe of like a mixture. I can understand why that could be appealing to community builders out there. Do a mix of both. Why have one, and why just go with one when you can have both?
Yeah,
I get it.
possibly.
I get it.
I I think that's been the story for a while. It's why people struggle to, start community outside of Slack, for example.
Mm.
or Slack's still such a dominant kind of space for communities or
Yeah.
things for communities to use.
Well, there's
Um,
that community builder out there whose name I forget. I think he's based in New York, who I think he's got a whole community tool that just sits on top of Slack and does its thing.
yeah,
Um,
tighten it, I think.
Tiny,
Tighten it.
yes. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah,
there's a whole business in that, right? Um,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I guess like these days, again, it's a bias between us because like we're all invested into, our own platform.
Mm.
And like these days, it's like, let's put, for example, the one that I prototyped and I've kind of somewhat got ready to go. I'm trying to think, would I start that somewhere else first? And my opinion is no, I wouldn't,
Mm.
because then it would be too hard to move people over
Yeah.
later.
Mm.
Um, but what I would do, which is kind of saying start where people are, what I would do is reach out to the probably like 50 WhatsApp groups I'm on, which are all homemade related. It's a nightmare. Is what I
Yeah.
would do is
Yeah.
post in those groups and say, look, I've started this. So that is kind of starting where people are
Yes. Yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. And I've potentially got a good conversation with a community builder, where they're trying to work. Oh, thumbs up again. Um, yeah. Uh, when I do this and I hold my arm, it's like, how is that a test case for? I think some people do that. Anyway, potentially a conversation through one of our community members has said, "Oh, can I introduce you to this person? They're trying to work out what's next for their community." And they are on a platform that I know is a very popular platform. They've got a good number of members, and I can instantly feel, even before the conversation, like the questions might be, well, how the heck do we even start again when we've got all these people over here? Like, how are we going to bring them over? Are we going to lose people? What does that really mean? And, even without knowing that those perhaps are some of the questions they might ask, if people are going from, say, platform to vibe code, I think it really is an opportunity to really take a step back and think of things from scratch. Like, imagine this is a new community. All the good things that I want to do. The other examples of good communities out there, like the Motaverse. How can we just steal what they do and build it into our own community? And I encourage people to go and look at ministryoftesting.com, the Motaverse, and see how things are structured and all the different ways people can contribute and stuff as inspiration. I really believe that other folks should check that out. Don't mean that in an arrogant way. I just feel really good about what we're building, and it's a good use case for other communities out there. It just so if people are like, oh my God, but there's no chance we could migrate, and that migration word sounds quite scary, but it's really an opportunity to just build stuff from scratch and maybe pull over a subset of that community to kind of test things out and get a sense of things before it goes wider. Yeah, I think communities, just if they were to do that, build their own platform and do it via vibe coding, just got to be bold and brave and see what's possible. And there's tons of unknowns in that, right? Tons of unknowns. Yeah, I think the only way is to try it and see what
Mhm.
is possible. And that is scary as hell, particularly if for many community builders out there, they're feeling pressure from senior management, or they're trying to justify their role, or they're trying to get budget. Like, I can imagine, and I'm not in this situation, so I don't know if this is the case, but I could imagine for some organizations, it's like, I've just about got budget for us investing in this community platform. How the heck am I then going to say, actually, we should really build our own? And this is maybe one way we could do it. Um, and the risks that are attached with that. Because my assumption is for senior management, they'd be like, well, why don't you just pick a tool that does it for you already? But kind of missing the point of what a community can be, what perhaps a platform itself limits, or the direction it sends a community in based on just conversations and events, for example. Thinking about your Rosie Land post. So I can imagine it would be tough. Um, for people to get that sign off. But yeah, that's the challenge.
Yeah. Nola Simon says, initially I said vibe code it, but I'm concerned about privacy and security. So I think it's better to mitigate those risks to a platform, which I agree. But also, like some things like Lovable, are they a platform? Who's responsible? It's I'm not sure where the line is drawn, but it is valid. Jeffrey Evans says, I'm making this decision right now. The
Yeah,
answer will likely be a bit of both.
bit of both.
True, valid as well.
Yeah.
Cowstub, sorry if I mispronounced that, says community platforms are complex. Vibe coding is possible, however, constantly maintaining it, upgrading and fixing it is complex. Now that we've been building our platform for the last 2 years, you need to have the full picture of the platform before you decide the approach. Not sure I agree with the full picture. I've never had a full picture of what we're doing ever.
As much as I ask you every day, Rosie, what's the full picture? Give me that full picture. I say that in jest, and that is with no disrespect to Cal Stu, but we can disagree with what people share. That's fine. It's tough, right? I think the full picture, if that is a term I would use, perhaps I would frame it as systems thinking. Like, how is the system, not like techie system, but processes and how things are interconnected informs the platform. I think we iterate on that every day pretty much. And then we see dots joining and connecting things and try our best to make sure things do connect. I think that evolves. I don't think you need to have that up front. You can try.
And that's the beauty of building your own, whether it's vibe coding it or like we're building our own, is that we have that flexibility to or lack of pressure. Actually, we're not sure how things are going to look in a year's time, and we can adapt with it. But with a community platform, you can. You know, I describe it like a straitjacket. It's like you're so restricted, so you really want to do stuff, but it gets so hard to create any kind of change. But you know, also he makes a point. It's complex. Like us building our own is complex. Even we're not vibe coding the Motaverse, but it's you know there's a lot of moving pieces. Sometimes it feels like nothing's changing, but behind the scenes we're doing a lot of updates. So yeah, building software is complex. But actually Lovable, you know, has been making it quite easy. So I don't know. You know, and it's only getting better. And I'm not. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's just super interesting. Yeah,
I think there's a case. There's absolutely a case for platforms, and I want to make that case now. Is if someone is new to their community role, new to being a community person or community professional, then they might genuinely just be overwhelmed. Like, where would I start if I were to build this from scratch? And I did that through vibe coding or hiring a team of engineers. Like, how do I start? And absolutely can understand that a platform can get people up and running with some tools and kind of tried and tested ways of bringing people together, having a space for people to share ideas, thoughts, and things like that, to host events and help people gather. I totally get that. It's that kind of point that maybe someone gets to in their career where they're like, yeah, but if only. Now I know what I know. If only we could do this. If only we could do that. Yeah, I just have to accept these are the constraints. And don't get me wrong, I think constraints are a good thing, particularly for creativity. Yeah, constraints in a context around product or platform, well, to use your straitjacket analogy, yes. But I can really see how it gets people going. It gets them at least, or maybe it is a stepping stone thing, and is to get a taste of what being a community professional is like, and also you can learn some skills as a community manager, community person with platforms. Like when I first joined Ministry of Testing, I was heavily involved on the club, which is our forum that's powered by Discourse, and I learned loads of stuff through that platform about like moderation, how to make decisions about what's spam and what's not, how to kind of encourage conversation, how to kind of look out for members in different ways, how to encourage starting interesting topics, how to run campaigns over time. Like all of that stuff I learned through using the club, if I'm honest. And that's great. You know, forum based communities in the right context are wonderful. Um, so we can still learn as professionals and grow our skills by using community platforms. And I think that is an important point to remember um, as we're upskilling ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say something, but I kind of forgot.
I was rabbiting on for too long. Yeah, just
oh,
yeah.
no, no, I got it. Actually, the thing I was going to say is that we've had our head deep into figuring out or trying to think about what our platform should be. So, perhaps one of the reasons that I feel like I can spin up new communities because we've been evolving our community and learning from it. And
Yeah.
these are not things that have just come to me on a whim. These are actually, I feel these are good things to have in community that aren't typically available in community products. So I guess that's the advantage, I think, of
Yeah.
vibe coding it. And does it have to be forever? It doesn't have to be forever. And I think whilst I'm not an expert with Lovable, there are ways to like export the data and the code and all of that. So in some senses, you've got more security because of that. Whereas previously with hosted products, it's like if they stop developing features, which quite often actually
Yeah.
happens quite a lot,
Yeah.
then you're stuck. You're like you have to move anyways.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And the amount of times like communities end up migrating is yeah, it's a lot. I don't have any data on it, but I see it happen a lot, and the cost of that, and the loss of users, loss of data, loss of
Mm.
is quite a big task, right? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love. I think like I've always been a builder at heart.
Mm.
So it's like the fact that it's so easy now to just spin something up, I think is um pretty amazing. Andy Claremont asks a bunch of questions which are all valid.
Yeah.
So it depends on the community. What's the group for? Who are the members? What are they going to do together? Is it professional or personal?
Mm.
What the stakeholder expectations are out of the gate? Yeah, there's those questions, all valid.
Yeah. Good
Um,
questions. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it, it started a good bit of a debate there on LinkedIn. It's nice. Get people thinking about it. If you were starting it today, I like it. It was a good question. Let's see if there's maybe we've got 6 days left on that one as the time of recording on Wednesday, the 5th of August. So few more comments to come in, but yeah, for our listeners, do go check it out. We'll include a link to that in the show notes, which is cool. And yeah, get involved, join, share a comment, let us know what you think.
Yeah, and like not directly related to vibe coding, but like this is a way to build community as well. So we're having a conversation.
Mm.
I didn't originally intend to talk about it today, but it seemed interesting enough. But it's a nice way to tie in other people's voices into this conversation, and then once this is live, we can drop a link and you know share it with them, which is cool.
Absolutely.
Kind of nice.
I love it. That's a nice approach that we try to do often in the Motaverse, is kind of mention people and during a conversation and link back to them and then go, oh yeah, like we mentioned your thing, go check it out. It just feels nice to do that. Um, another thing I saw that was interesting, it's community related, but not. I guess it is. So I'll talk about it. Is sort of as we're talking about vibe coding and AI, was how our perception of AI can change if we reframe things. So the article that got me thinking about it was um, inside IKEA's big bet on humans in the age of AI. And I think it was like, it basically saying that AI has changed things. We might assume bad things would happen, but good things happen. So I'll explain a little bit. So IKEA made a decision to kind of introduce an AI bot as part of their customer service tool. They called it Billy, which is their famous bookshelf. Which I thought was great naming. That's absolute genius. I think we've got a Billy bookshelf in my son's bedroom just around the corner from where I'm recording right now. It's made me smile. But Billy is like, solving very straightforward customer service questions. Where's my order? I need to change my billing, etc. All that good stuff, right? And then you might have thought, well, IKEA would get rid of all their customer service people and go, sorry, we've replaced you with Billy. See you later. But they didn't. They went, let's retrain the entire customer service team to upskill them for many years to become like um, internal designers, like interior designers. Um, so they can really deal with the real high value stuff, high value activities for their customers, their members, essentially. And IKEA, I don't have the numbers to hand, but I could grab them. But I'll just link to the article. People can get the detail. But staggering revenue numbers, revenue growth by retraining those customer services people to kind of be like kind of sales agents, but also like customer success agents, like focusing on service and generating new business. And it was like, it really gives me hope for these bigger organizations where you hear these stories of like, this workforce has been cut because of AI. This workforce has been cut because of AI. Isn't it great that IKEA has made success of it through retraining and just like coming at it at a different angle? Like, how can we take our existing group of people, retrain them, and deliver a better service, and the business profits accordingly, and the employees benefit? I thought that was a great story. That given the concerns we have in the industry right now about AI.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Don't get rid of your people just because, AI can do some of the work. There's always work that we want to do as well that we
Mm,
never get to. I think is another angle to kind of think about it. But yeah, I get that businesses need to make money and stay
mm.
profitable. But um, yeah, I just think it's a shame to just cut things without really thinking about the human aspect. Um, yeah, and I'm just of the mindset, especially at the moment in MOT. Obviously, we're tiny and small team, but it's like um, get getting rid of your people. Like it has knock-on effects. The knowledge we all have as a team,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it would be hard to retrain that up. It just I would dread the day
Oh,
if something like that happened. But
mm.
it's like not. It's like the idea of like having to retrain like you or Deanna or Andrew. I'm like, no,
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
nightmare.
Yeah, and from your position, I could understand. I'd be like, "Oh, okay." And I don't and that I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. It's more just, from your position, like, you've got staff that have been with the organization for a good amount of time, like, know things inside out. There's all that sort of tacit knowledge that maybe is codified explicitly or implied, but it's just all there, right? And I think for any organization, that's a huge investment in, the cost of rehiring is real, not just the actual cost, but the cost to retrain and get people up to speed. But it made me think, like, how can we apply like the IKEA model to community? Like, what Is there like how how can we encourage members to, rethink or reapproach the relationship we have with our members, because AI is now doing something different for them, so they can now focus on other parts. I haven't quite got there yet with my thoughts around that, and I think there is stuff we're doing um, for our members that is supported by AI, but making it more explicit. I don't know what that looks like. I'm kind of articulating my words as they're coming in. I think there's something in that kind of reframing or repurpose or reevaluating.
The role is changing. I think the role is changing, or the role is hard to define. And I'm of the opinion that you need to be flexible in what you see community as.
Yeah,
I mean, I've said a number of times, like, I don't even know if we should have a community person because we're all doing community.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Your job title is community lead officially, but like, just this past week, you've been a product manager and a quality engineer,
Yeah.
and a community person, and it's like how do you define what what's of value to the business?
Mm,
Um, Especially with community, which is quite similar to quality, it's so hard to define. And like
yeah.
we often say, like quality is everywhere and community is everywhere.
Mm,
So therefore, what does that mean for our community roles? Like we are trying to use AI more and more, but that's not with the goal of getting rid of anyone. It's a goal of actually getting to do the better work, the more
mm.
exciting work, the things that we really want to get to. Is like automating or weeding out some of the boring things.
Yeah,
Um, you know, we got the newsletter down from that I've been doing that I
yeah,
took over from you a while back.
yeah.
And it used to take us like 6 to 8 hours to kind of gather all the stuff. And we've tweaked it over the past few months, but I got it down to an hour.
I was going to call it out as an absolute
Uh,
win. It's wicked, and the cool thing is, it's like we have the R test, and if folks aren't familiar with that, it's like when you refine a process or you do a thing, you just go, that feels good. That feels like it's a bit more straightforward. It's simple. There's no extra stress or like extra. Oh, hang on a minute. There's a bit of a niggle of like, that's not, doesn't feel quite right, or this is taking too long, or there's got to be a better way. So you doing that with the newsletter is like a full on R test. It's very cool.
yeah, and it's not all AI that's helped that, but it has contributed to it.
Mm,
A lot of the change has also come from like changing how we do sponsorship, to trying to improve that, and that's literally taken months and months to refine as we get new uh, customers and sponsors on board. It's like, what does that look like? And we've designed things so that we don't have to chase for a copy of content, and that was very much my intention from the beginning. But it's taken us a good 18 months to actually get to 1 hour because of the multitude of changes that we've
mhm,
made. It's not just a newsletter. It's how we get sponsors. It's what we commit to with sponsors. It's our website platform changing as well. Like,
mm,
it's so different from what it was before. Um, so now we even have two newsletters. So we've got one on a Monday and one on a Friday,
mm.
and that's partly because of uh, just all the changes going on. But each of them takes about an hour. Um,
It's amazing.
yeah, but it's cool, and it's like I don't know. I'm so happy about that 1 hour thing. I know it's such. It feels like such a little thing, but it's like I've got a whole day back.
Yeah,
Um,
it's amazing.
am I going to use it and pretend I'm doing work? Work? No, I'm not. I'm going to go and like move on to other things.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
um, would I ever use that as an excuse to lay someone off? It's like no, I wouldn't do that. The only reason I would lay someone off is if we didn't have money, right? If it
Mm.
didn't make financial sense to keep someone on, right? But none of it. It's like the last thing on my mind is to lay, think about laying people off just because we're using AI.
Mm.
And if anything, I'm excited about like how we can accelerate things.
Yeah.
Um, and to accelerate and do things differently, we need to think about our roles, which kind of goes back to the IKEA stuff. It's like we can redefine our roles. Um,
Yeah.
and I think everyone has to redefine their roles, and I don't think that's unique to community. Quality is, the same.
Mm.
I was listening to a podcast about product management and questioning whether, product management brings any value. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm.
Um, so it's there's these existential crises for everyone, and that the focus is always on, at least for me, is like always doing better. What can we do that's doing better rather than saying this is my role.
I've got an idea off the back of that, Rosie. It's called triple AI. Okay, go with me on this one. So AI can accelerate what you do, your capabilities, and what you can deliver. Related, it can amplify your abilities, both perhaps good and bad. So being aware of like amplifying bad behaviors or bad processes. But mostly, if you focus on the right things, amplify the good stuff. And it also helps us articulate. So articulate our ideas, thoughts, and approaches. So triple AI.
There you go.
There it
There's
is.
a moment in that.
It's a moment in that. Yeah. Yeah. I need to, I get that on my backlog right now for one of us to write at some point. But yeah, I like it. Um, but it's true though, right? Like the, it's kind of, it comes back to I know I keep going on about it, but what are our high value activities and what could be what should we be making a better use of our time and focusing on? And if AI can support those high value activities, brilliant. Or if it can replace like saying low value activity sounds a bit weird, but if it can pick up that stuff that just has to happen, but it's kind of ticking things over, moving things forward, but it's not like super high value. I think you using the terms you used earlier on, like the boring stuff, that still has to get done, right? Still has to get done. Then if AI can pick that up and do it in a safe way and an efficient way, brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exciting. I love it. I honestly just like all the tedious aspects that we're getting rid of one by one. And I guess go back to the vibe coding thing. There's probably like aspects of community that we've been talking about. Like you don't have to adopt vibe coding full on, but like if we have a look at like the backlog of things that we want and need, and how we never get to some things that would actually be really handy. Um, so like you know, one of the things is just like a good overview of all our community members, their
Mm.
demographic. We've never actually built a dashboard around that. Um, and it's just way down on the priority list
Mm.
because it's like, is it important? It's like, yes, it's important to understand. Of course it is. Um, but when you put the AI hat on, you know, you all of a sudden think differently and you're like, okay, well, maybe we don't need to build it. Maybe we just need access to the data
Yeah.
and AI can query it. Um, and that becomes super, super interesting. And then when you start thinking like that, you're like, oh, we need data. How can we hook up the data? And
Mm.
therefore, it's not so much about the platform needs features. It's that actually we need access to data. Um, and what does our data structure look like? And if we're thinking about like different skills that we need to learn, like I'd love to learn more about data and
Uh,
be more data scientist type.
yeah.
I was like, and using that for community. And um, yeah, I think there's a whole other level, you know, layers of community expertise when it comes to data that
Yeah.
we could level up, right? And was that possible without AI before? I think we would have thought that we'd have to hire someone to do these things for us, but actually maybe we can achieve enough just ourselves. Is it
Yeah.
as good as what a professional data scientist could do? Probably not, but we make do. Um, and that's exciting, you know. I'm
It
like,
is. It's
yeah,
brilliant. It's like we need to go and hang out as if we, because we have not got much going on. Uh, go hang out in some data scientist communities and see what they're up to and see what's interesting and see what we can learn from those professionals just to support our efforts with data. But it's like, the point you're making is brilliant. It's like not thinking in terms of feature development. It's like data development, like, because just getting AI to build, to go and find that information without us having to actually write the code to do that. It just makes sense. And it all comes back to, it's a recurring theme in our conversations about data. Like, what data can you gather and have access to about what's going on in your community and how that is so important. Yeah, I like it.
yeah. And some people say you can't own the community data, but you can. You just have to stop seeing the community data as just the conversations that people have.
Mm.
And I think that's what people often tend to default to, is like, thinking that the only data that matters are the conversations that are happening. But
Yeah.
there's much more to community data than that. Um, which vibe coding, Lovable, as an example, gives you access to the data, right? So, that's, and platforms will as well, you know. So it's, about weighing out those options, I guess.
Um, I wonder if there's a diagram in that, like a before and after type diagram, where you've got like perhaps current paradigm of what 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 a good number of people see as community data looks like this, what it actually could be or should be in your view, and then like an arrow pointing to sort of say it's all this stuff. I think of like an iceberg, maybe it's this sort of data that's hidden. That how do you get that to the top? But then the iceberg analogy falls flat at that point because it's always going to be an iceberg unless it melts, and then everything goes underneath the surface, which you don't want. So it's like flipping it. I'm trying to think of another metaphor that could work, but showing like a current paradigm, or at least a popular paradigm right now of community data, where you believe community data truly exists now and where we should go to. Like, what is the shift? That would make for an interesting visual.
Yeah, I shall ponder on that one.
Thrill. That's cool. Doing a quick time check. I wonder if that's a good time to wrap things up, unless you had any other thoughts within the next 5 or so minutes, or something you want to discuss in the next 5 minutes or so.
Um, I guess maybe Jan Buller's post about Stack Overflow.
Oh, yeah.
Um, you mentioned, I mean, it's been going around a bit, like that, at least in discussions, about Stack Overflow's traffic decline. There's the famous graph that is like spikes and it's
Mm.
gone all the way back down. Which people can see as like, oh, community is dead or Stack Overflow is dead. but I've been following them for a bit and seeing like what they're up to, and actually a lot of their stuff is about data,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So if we're turning it into like the data discussion and traffic, very much a vanity metric. Is like people want to know the traffic, and the graph that gets shared is all about traffic.
Right.
Um, but Stack Overflow have actually built a number of products as a result of the data that they have, and they're still going, they're still doing well. They're still relying on the data that they do have, um, and yeah, I don't have the exact figures, but it seems to be still. You would assume that they would be dead as a company, but they're not. They're
Mm.
going. Um, so yeah, and I'd recommend anyone just search what Stack Overflow up to. They've shared a few posts on their website over the past year or so about knowledge management, which relates to community knowledge management. But I very much believe that's the future of community, is like stop, please stop judging everything on traffic, and there's much more to community than that, and we have to get smarter at how we see community, and how literally in Stack Overflow's case is that community data is supporting a number of products, right? It's amazing to think of it like that, and it's like community is a glue, community is at the heart. If that doesn't show it, I don't, yeah, I
Y-
don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, why isn't that clear to everyone? Yeah. It's a good one. And quoting Jan Biller on their post on LinkedIn, instead of fighting AI, adapt to it, reduce friction for simple questions, encourage deeper discussions, build communities around expertise rather than FAQs. Stack Overflow is already evolving in exactly this direction, and I believe many successful communities will follow. Communities aren't disappearing. They're becoming the engine that powers AI. Interesting. So yeah, we can link to that in the show notes as well.
AI needs data.
Yeah,
I think that's a takeaway. And if we're building community, we need to feed it that data. Yeah, all about
absolutely.
the data.
All about the data. That is the episode title. Brilliant. Always seems to land on the title right at the very end. It's great. Brilliant. Okay, well, feels like a good time to wrap things up. Always a pleasure chatting with you, Rosie. And
Likewise, Simon.
good to explore all this stuff together. And yeah, we encourage our listeners to get involved. If this sparks something, start sharing, right? Share your thoughts on things, get it out there. You can join the This Week in Community chapter on the Motaverse. So head over to the chapters page. We'll include a link to that as well in the show notes. Do go sign up. That will keep you notified on every episode as it gets launched, or every live conversation that we have each week. We're aiming for every Wednesday at 4 p.m. UK time. So do join us if you can. And join us on stage. If you want to come up and tell us what you've been up to, what's been happening, we would love to hear from you. But yeah, for now, we'll see you around the communities and all across. See you soon.
Bye for now.